Rat King is an exotic kinetic sidearm available from completing the extended story mission on Titan. The quest can also be obtained by completing an activity with someone who is currently using Rat King or on the quest. The first perk, Rat Pack, says this weapon becomes stronger when nearby allies also have it equipped. Stacks up to 6 times. The second perk, Vermin, grants a brief period of invisibility when you reload directly after killing someone with Rat King. So you probably want to know exactly what this weapon becomes stronger means. For every person who has a Rat King currently equipped and out, who is also close to you, you can get an extra bullet in the magazine, increased handling, reload, and rate of fire. So you can go from the 15 rounds in the magazine up to 20, and the other increases don't really do anything once you get about above 4 stacks. The rate of fire increase gives the weapon quite a hair trigger, but you're still going to have to spam the trigger to get something like this, which is a lot harder than it looks since you still have to correct for the aim. It won't be too hard though, since the gun does have an extremely predictable recoil pattern that's almost completely vertical. Also, the eyes on the back of the weapon will glow brighter based on how many Rat Kings are in proximity to you, just in case you need to quickly look and see an approximation of how many stacks you're at. Although just saying that having individual lights to show stacks would be a lot more convenient than having to guess based on brightness. The invisibility effect on reload after a kill lasts for about 3 seconds, or until you perform an action like using a class ability, shooting, or popping a super. It also should stop enemies from targeting you for that time period, although invisibility effects have always been a little bit weird in Destiny. Sometimes enemies will just stand next to you, but not attack. Other times they'll keep attacking the spot that you are in. Don't count on it to save you if enemies are close to you, but otherwise it should give you some breathing room to reposition. In PvE, Rat King alone isn't that impressive. Sidearms as a whole actually don't provide enough damage, have enough ammo, or really do anything unique that makes them worth the weapon slot in PvE. Basically, they're hand cannons that are also pea shooters. However, Rat King is the one exception to this statement, provided you can consistently run with about 2 to 3 other people that have it. The ammo statement still applies though, but once you ramp up the rate of fire, the damage can get pretty impressive. Sadly, the one thing that Rat King doesn't do is have an increase in damage or full auto when you reach those 6 stacks of Rat Pack. This is kind of a shame since the one activity those things could be used in would be the raid. In PvP, you have 4 people and are usually split up, so you won't see much benefit. In Patrol, again, it's a little bit random, so you're usually only going to have about 3 together. If the perk was made to go up to 6, why not have a damage bump somewhere at the 5th or 6th stack, and full auto in there too? It would make the weapon that more appealing to groups that are looking to do something fun. I don't think those two things would break the weapon either, since the base damage is that of a sidearm, and having full auto would just make you less likely to break your controller. It could also be kind of cool to see alternate strategies to develop on some of the fights in the raid that are based around only using Rat King. That's a topic for another time though, where I go over my thoughts on Bungie's raid designs and how they don't leave a lot of room for alternate strategies to develop. Now, PvP is where Rat King really gets to come alive. While in PvE you want a weapon to be both consistent and have good utility on its own, and also good damage, in PvP you really want something that's just consistent. Any extra utility is a plus. Fortunately, this gun is one of the most consistent kinetic sidearms in the game. The recoil is so easy to control and its in-air accuracy is solid. Hipfire is easy to predict. Basically, every quality that you want in a gun for PvP is present here. Then you have the added benefit of turning invisible after a kill. While it doesn't sound like the greatest ability on a gun, you need to examine how prevalent team shooting is in Destiny 2. A lot of the time you simply can't get away from an engagement if you're facing more than one player. The invisibility can give you enough time to simply escape, since it's harder to track you, or it can allow you to quickly reposition and get the drop on the next enemy. I honestly thought Rat King was going to be a bit of a joke in PvP, since all the sidearms I used aside from the Omelon ones have just been laughably bad, but it really integrated well into my mobile playstyle, and basically the first time I used it we ran out of medals, my only one in Destiny 2 as of this video. I paired it with an energy auto rifle like Prosecutor or Uriel's Gift and was almost able to cover all ranges perfectly. The Rat Pack buff is pretty fun to try to use in an organized group as well. While the perk does have a short range, when you are together and can get the perk stacked, you can put out some frightening damage just on your own. Add in team shooting, and the only way people can really exterminate your little group of rats is with grenades or supers. I always like creating little mini games like this in PvP and just seeing how people adapt to them, especially if they kind of directly counter the passive long-range meta that we're currently in. Rat King definitely isn't better than just using one of the numerous good kinetic weapons for PvP though. The popular things are popular because they're good, and if Rat King was as good as those, you would be seeing it much more often. Sidearms, aside from the Omelon ones, just require a little bit too much investment from pulling the trigger constantly and having to keep your reticle on your target. Auto rifles, hand cannons, and SMGs are just a little bit safer bet for the close range that Rat King is supposed to occupy. So in short, this weapon is definitely one of the more fun guns in the game, mostly because it literally makes you play with other people to get the weapon and use it to see its benefit. Playing with other people is always more fun. Those benefits, while interesting, aren't terribly powerful though. In PvE, it will be a cute thing to use, but it's a strictly worse hand cannon. In PvP, well, I guess it's the same as PvE. It's cute, but use a hand cannon if you want to pew-pew, especially if you're playing solo. I hope you found this information here helpful. If you did, a positive rating would be appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.